Namaste, I'm Dr. Nikhita, and welcome to my interview series where we are collaborating with distinguished personalities from the health and wellness industry. Today, we have an entrepreneur who's repackaged Ayurveda to an accessible beverage. He truly believes in Ayurveda and Yoga and envisions to bring wellness to suit the modern sensibilities. We have Deepak Agarwal, the founder of Auric. A very warm welcome to you, Deepak.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
That's my pleasure too. So, Deepak, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. By education, I'm a chemical engineer from IIT Delhi, and then for about 8 years, I was working with Unilever in various roles in India, Switzerland, and Singapore across strategy and operations. My love for brands and products grew many folds in Unilever. But at the same time, I have been a fitness enthusiast all my life, having professionally played sports for quite a bit of my childhood. And that's where fitness was something that was always close to my heart. But at the same time, an incident happened which led me to yoga, and that yoga led me to Ayurveda. And so I feel now deeply passionate about the ancient wisdom. I do feel that there is a lot of science with our ancestors, which is yet to be unfolded. And that's where I'm trying to do my best with Auric to bring that science to the people.
Right. It's really good to know. And after working in the FMCG for over 8 years and then starting Auric, so that must have been quite a journey. So, we'd like to know a little bit about your journey and what really inspires you.
Right. Yes, of course. So when we make the change from working with a multinational like Unilever, going to a startup, there is definitely a change in the people, the surroundings, as well as your lifestyle. Everything changes. But I think I call Unilever as my school. If it was not for Unilever, I would not have learned anything about the brands, products, and business and things like that. So Unilever is where I learned most of these tricks, and that's what I have been applying in my journey in the last 2.5 years with Auric as well. The inspiration comes from the fact that food and nutrition is something that became really close to my heart. I was always a love enthusiast of food, but it moved from love to respect in the last few years. That's when you realize the importance of nutrition in your daily fitness regime. And at the same time, through a backbone fracture that happened during my university days, I came across to yoga, and I realized that if yoga can help you go through such a difficult phase, then maybe other ancient sciences like Ayurveda can also help you. So my inspiration comes from these two places where the respect for food and the respect for sciences like yoga and Ayurveda is central to my passion and thesis.
Yes. Ayurveda and yoga are truly incredible sciences. And I am so glad that Ayurveda, especially, is getting its due finally, like globally, now that Ayurveda has been recognized quite a lot. So, that is a really a big revolution in itself. So, how
Mhm.
has Ayurveda really influenced your lifestyle?
Right. In my own lifestyle, it all started first with experimentation and learning. By education, I'm not a Ayurvedic science person, and hence it's not something that I studied in school or university. So I had to learn it. But what I figured out was that when you learn it, when you experiment it, that's when you actually know how each body is different. For example, how a botanical and a herb will react on my body is completely different from how it will react on, for example, my wife's body. And that's where that experimentation really helped. I managed to start with certain sciences, read few books like Charak Samhita to try to understand what is it that we are trying to do. And that's when, after a bit of experimentation, is when I realized the benefits that it comes, both mental and physical. And hence, slowly and slowly, I started practicing Ayurveda. But yeah, it was a bit difficult journey because it's a complex science. It's not something that you can learn immediately. There is a whole university course around Ayurveda, and I'm sure in the past people were taught in the schools about Ayurveda. So it was difficult for me to absorb it, but with support of Ayurvedic doctors around me, with support of certain nutritionists around me, it was easier for me to understand those principles.
Okay, fantastic. Because yes, I haven't really tried Auric yet, and I do look forward to it. And I have read some really fantastic reviews where, like with Ayurvedic medicine, usually there's a real big challenge when it comes to patient compliance, quite a lot because of the bitter taste. And there is a certain way, like you rightly said, there's a certain way, and there are a lot of rules which are to be followed while taking an Ayurvedic medication. So, having said that, you have managed to really put it along in the best possible way. So, how are you looking forward, like for Auric? What are the roadmaps in the future?
I think right. I think briefly I missed your question in between. If you can just repeat it again.
Yes. So, in for Auric, what are your roadmaps? Now that you have actually managed to get with this drink, which has so beautifully amalgamated the bitter taste, and it's still got the benefits of the herbs. So, moving
Hmm.
forward, what are the roadmaps for Auric?
Right. See, anything which is good for you is definitely also going to take something from you. And I think with Ayurveda, the that something is the bitterness, and that is exactly the reason why, while it is super beneficial to you, it's difficult for people to absorb it, primarily because of the taste. And unfortunately, all of us have become so used to 10, 15, 20% sugar in all things that we eat or drink, that it becomes even more difficult for us to have an Ayurveda and a nutrition balance together. While it's pretty easy to add sugar to Ayurveda and make it tasty, but then the nutrition value is also lost. So from our side, we always wanted to make sure that Ayurveda and nutrition are both packaged together, and it is not either or discussion, it should be both. And that's where it was a challenge for us, and it took us some bit of time to figure out the right molecules that interact with each other in the right fashion, how the taste cannot be compromised in front of Ayurveda and nutrition. But at the same time, I'm glad that we were able to do it. At the same time, Ayurveda is not a impulsive science. It's not like that you will consume something today and tomorrow you can suddenly see your skin glowing. That's not going to happen, right? And anything that is good requires patience. Anything that is worthwhile pursuing will require effort, and that's the principle that Ayurveda also follows. And finally, coming to the question on the plan around what all things that we plan to do in the future, I think we just build on the same thesis. We want to provide the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda in modern formats. We want to capture the eating and drinking occasions of the consumer, and that is why we are trying to find the relevance of functional foods through Ayurveda, through the propositions of beauty and wellness in the mindsets of the consumer. That's what we are trying to do. So while we have started with beverages first, very soon you will also come across a lot of products in different categories, which are going to be for beauty and wellness through Ayurveda.
Okay, that's really wonderful. I really look forward to that. So yes,
Hmm.
and currently, while amidst we are in this very uncertain period, and like the COVID-19, and this is a situation which was definitely not something we ever predicted. But while we are in this time of uncertainty, as an entrepreneur, how do you plan to really cope and manage this particular situation?
Hmm. See, COVID 19 is an unfortunate time for all of us. It has been a standstill journey for most of us by being restricted to our own homes. But it is also a time of reflection. It's also a time when we can relook at, from a business perspective, the business strategies. It is also a time for people to relook at their own lifestyle. And I do feel that while people are going through difficult times and companies are going through disturbances in their supply chain, when they look at the broader picture, the things can become better for overall the humankind. I see people becoming much more wellness conscious after coronavirus. I see that people who were first restricting themselves to just external goodness, just looking good, are also now trying to feel good. Where in beauty and wellness, where there was never a balance between the two things, is slowly and slowly wellness is rising up, and there is a balance between beauty and wellness, which is a good thing because overall you're until and unless you are going to show the best version of yourself from inside, it is never going to show up on the outside. uh, from our side, thankfully we were part of the essential food and services, so therefore our operations suffered for some time, but we were able to start back our operations soon. Also, we were ensuring all the hygiene practices both for our people as well as our business associates. At the same time, we started a small campaign, and this was just a gratitude campaign. We see everywhere around us that people are feeling so grateful to people around them. There are people in societies who have suddenly become the admin leads. If you have to order on Big Basket or any of these retailers, they're combining the orders together for the entire society and then distributing it within the society. Now, that's a wonderful gesture. Some of the people came back to us and they gifted Auric to some of these societies. And of course, then there are doctors all over around us who are working tirelessly day in and day out. And if you know a doctor, we recommended that why don't you gift them Auric? And that's what we have seen has been a good gesture from the people, and people are also appreciating the fact that they're getting Ayurveda wellness in a modern, friendly format of beverage during these times. It just helps them. That's what we have been trying to do our bit, but of course, we are just a small part of this entire equation.
That's really fantastic to know, because yes, I wasn't really aware about this until you shared, and it's really a very kind gesture. That's really true. People are really with so much happening. Really, this whole movement has really brought us together in terms of humanity and also being grateful really for
Mhm.
whatever we have. So yes, so this has been quite a journey for I think all of us. And how has it been like on the personal front? Has it really made a difference? Do you feel like you have found a lot of us are finding more time than usual to really focus on ourselves and work on our own internal journey, like you said, very much. So has that been like has there been a change for you, or how do you see it for yourself?
I think, Dr. Nikita, I think I partly missed your question because of the connection issues, but what you were asking is how has my schedule changed?
Yes,
That's what you were asking?
really, yes.
Okay. We all are going through remote working. What we have figured out is that remote working is much more productive, much more efficient. At the same time, when you lose the personal touch of speaking to someone face to face, the discussions which are harder to do becomes even more hard. So from that perspective, what we realize is that operations can go virtual, operations can happen remotely, but people to people discussions are required to have that relationship in place. If you have already established a great relationship with your colleagues, it's no problem. That's one. Second thing is that my daughter sees now more of myself at home while she was not used to it. So that has allowed me to spend quite a bit of time with my family. The third thing is that I think the contribution to household chores have significantly increased. So from that perspective, what I have also realized is the nitty gritties of everything that happens in the household, right from cooking. I am not someone who was a good cook any which ways, but I realized more and more by in these 45 days that how the science of nutrition can be put inside when you are actually cooking yourself. And those are the small things. I am enjoying this time, but at the same time now I'm really wanting to go back to office and start having a people to people connect.
It's really good to know. Thank you so much for your time, Deepak. And I wish you all the very best with Auric. And I actually do look forward to the range of products which you just shared with us a little bit about. Thanks again
Absolutely.
for the time.
Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for having me here. I'm sure you will like Auric and we'll soon have Auric at your place.
I look forward to that. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please let us know, leave a comment, and I'd love to make more such useful interactions. Um, all of you take care, stay healthy, and make Ayurveda a way of life. Namaste.